Aw yeah, winter time is here once again, my favorite time of the year. Ever since I was a kid, the holiday season was always something I look forward to the most. The free video games, hanging out with friends and family, the free video games, school finally giving me a decent break from all the hard work, there's the free video games, of course the corny Christmas specials, and most importantly, and let's be real here, the free video games. These interactive forms of media already do so much to suck you into their worlds, and to thrust you into a pure winter wonderland is something I think is worth celebrating. So these are my top 10 wintry levels in gaming, and I'll just say right off the bat that I am fully aware that RPGs have a ton of wonderlands like this, but the thing is, I haven't really played a lot of them, so don't get too upset if one of your favorites isn't on the list. I mean, come on, it is Christmas after all, a couple days late, but still. Aside from that, as long as it has snow, it is possible to be on the list. But alright, let's deck the freaking halls and get this started. I can pretty much talk this one up to pure nostalgia, but I'm going to start off the list with Winter Tundra from Spyro the Dragon 2 Ripto's Rage. Honestly, there is just something about the overworlds in Spyro 2 that just seems so magical to me. They are all based on different seasons and all have the most ambient music ever, and then you're thrust into the final world, which is literally a playground of snow and penguins, which, just for the record, are like my favorite animal ever. This was always a game I came back to year after year during winter break, and to end off the game in a literal winter tundra that leads off into an area in the sky manned by the bizarre creation of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Dick Gumshoe from Ace Attorney, a farm being run by hillbilly robots, and a futuristic city filled with even more modern-esque robots, it is pretty dang amazing. Now I know you're saying, isn't it a bit weird that he would put this on the list even though he plugs levels that have no snow in them? Yeah, it is, just a bit. But hey, on the other side of that, everybody's favorite money bag shows up and it perfectly replicates the feeling of Christmas of a salesman trying to sell you the simplest of things for high prices. If that doesn't speak to the holiday spirit, I don't know what does. And quite frankly, it was either going to be this or Frozen Altars from Spyro 3. And I chose against that because it features one of the most infuriating minigames on the planet. Although to be fair, you do get to play ice hockey with frozen cats. 'Tis the season after all. Of course Sonic was going to make it somewhere on this list, but which of the icy zones is going to be the one to show up? Or should I say, snow up? No, I probably shouldn't say that. Ice Cap Zone from Sonic 3? Pretty amazing, but nah. Maybe Cool Edge from Sonic Unleashed. Fantastic music and amazing graphical setting, but I'll pass on that one too. Windy Hill with annoying ice mechanics? Yeah, let's not open that can of worms again, please. I'm going to go with Ice Cap right from Sonic Adventure. There's just something about this level's atmosphere that fills me with the warmth of being surrounded by nothing but snow and ice. Silly AntDude, you can't be warm and surrounded by snow at the same time. Yeah, well, you start off scaling the inside and outside of a big snowy mountain before running into a really tall ice cavern where you have to do some more climbing. All to some of the best music the game has to offer, I don't care what anyone says. You get to go from one snowy ledge to another, jump from one icicle to another, and make one final trek across a bridge made entirely out of ice. And if all that wasn't cool enough, it finally all peaks when you go outside and have to snowboard away from a giant avalanche with easily one of the greatest music tracks to ever grace a Sonic game. Be cool, be wild, be groovy, and most importantly, be jolly! Woo! You know, The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess gets a lot of flack, and a lot of it I feel like is undeserved. Some people may not agree with me on this, but one of the things I absolutely love about the game is the atmosphere. A good ways into your adventure from a small tunnel in the Zora domain, you are transported to the bottom of Snow Peak, a frozen mountain filled with frozen wolves and frozen bats. And on the very tippity tip top of it, you do a little bit of snowboard racing. Because, you know, The Legend of Zelda. Aw yeah, I'm a regular snowboard kid. And then when you get to the bottom, there is the Snow Peak Ruins. Definitely not one of the best dungeons to ever grace a Zelda game, but what's cool about it is that part of it is this mansion, half inhabited by a Yeti couple and half inhabited by icy monsters. And of course, in the middle, everyone's favorite go-to block pushing puzzle. To me, there's just something so warm and cozy about being in this house to stay clear from the deathly cold. You even get to feel the comfort from the Yeti family, like getting to enjoy a hot bottle of freshly made soup. But, you know, just sort of stay clear from Yetta. She may look sweet at first, but then the whole Ghost of Christmas Death shows up and then just turns into, you know, a little bit freaky. Oh god! One of my top 5 games of all time is without a doubt the original Metroid Prime. And part of the reason for that is because of its incredible atmosphere. There I go, talking about atmosphere again. So it was really no question at all that Phendrana Drifts would make it onto this list. And yeah, if you couldn't kinda tell by now, I am a total sucker for quiet and desolate areas completely encapsulated by snow. Something about just seeing all the snow slowly falling, and then here you're introduced to a whole bunch of new icy monsters and everything is just really sorta cool, pardon the pun. Like being able to play your part in the extinction of the Sheegoth species, because it is the season after all. You even get access to the Boost Ball power-up, which is one of the best, and you get to imagine yourself doing sweet tricks on a half-pipe. Woohoo! Cause I mean, if Samus is never gonna get on a snowboard in her life, this is like the next best thing, right? And what I really like about this area is that you get to destroy a whole lot of stuff. You get to destroy a Mother Sheegoth if destroying a handful of babies wasn't enough for you. Take down Thardus, a huge monster made entirely out of floating rocks, because sure. And you get to infiltrate and destroy the workers of a space pirate research center. Man, looking back, Samus is quite the path of destruction, isn't she? Well, that's fine, let's just roll with it. Fa la 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 death. Now I was gonna put one of the many snowy Mario Kart tracks on this list because they do all fit the wintry spirit perfectly fine, but then I remembered something. There is really no contest when it comes to a game that deserves the spotlight even more. The honor without a doubt goes to the entirety of Snowflake Mountain from Diddy Kong Racing. Something about this entire game is just pure magic and totally fits the bill when it comes to talking about classic N64 nostalgia with me. And Snowflake Mountain is one of the few examples of finally taking a snow level and deciding, hey, you know what? Let's finally make this feel like you're opening up the biggest present under the tree. There are 4 different tracks here and each one does something awesome. You have a plane ride through a snowy cavern, a race against giant snowballs, and even a trek through a frosty village. But nothing compares to Walrus Cove's giant loop-de-loop. Man, I don't know about you, but whenever I played this as a kid with my friends, I always got to this loop and just went, woohoo! I certainly hope I'm not the only one because it is totally awesome. And in fact, I still do that today, not ashamed to admit it. And man, the music is just infectious. Just listen to a little bit of the music and I guarantee you'll want to pop the game in once again. Ah yeah, you're welcome. So prepare to hear the word atmosphere again, but this time we're taking a trip to Paper Mario, one of the best games on the N64. More specifically, Chapter 7, A Star Spirit on Ice. This entire chapter just feels like a winter wonderland, even including you being blamed for the supposed death of one of the penguin villagers. Mainly because penguins, because I'm easy to satisfy. But the real reason why this chapter is so awesome is once you leave Shiver City behind and start finally getting stuff done. And for the first, second, third time on this list, you scale a giant snowy mountain with, of course, fantastic music backing your adventure. All the while encountering frozen forms of the always vicious piranha plants and the brand new Gulp Pit enemies, which are based on, And then it all comes to a climax with the Frozen Crystal Palace, a dungeon filled with mirror-based puzzles and optical illusions. And hey look, even Luigi makes an appearance. Hey, wait a minute, you think you could fool me? In this? The Year of Luigi? Think again! And then the chapter ends off with a battle with the Crystal King, and I'm gonna hate myself for saying this, one of the coolest bosses in the series. You find him, you fight him, and he knows how to whoop some non-frozen booty. Now this isn't my favorite chapter in the game, look at all the flowers, but it's still definitely worth being on this list. Because penguins. Let's be real here. Ice levels in 2D platformers most of the time kinda suck. Nothing says great platforming mechanics than having platforms specifically designed to mess with said platforming mechanics. It's been that way ever since platforming was just getting started. But while there are definitely examples of it working well, the earliest example I find myself loving are the ice levels from Donkey Kong Country 2: Diddy's Conquest. There are unfortunately only 3 of those levels, but whether you're taking advantage of On Guard, who is always a pleasure to use, or racing along frozen water quickly enough so you don't meet your piranha-filled end, Rareware took levels that would normally be obnoxious and made them enjoyable and, dare I say it, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna maintain this whole cool pun thing until you want to reach your hand through the computer screen and wring my neck with a wreath. Now, admittedly, the entire Donkey Kong Country trilogy is successful in making ice levels fun. Even DKC3 had a code that turned bonus stages into Christmas stages. But one thing that the first and third games don't have is possibly the greatest wintry music track to ever grace video games, period. Quite frankly, I could just swap the entry of this list to just be the music. In fact, you know what? Let me just, there we go! In a snowbound land. Excellent. Oh, and by the way, did you know that the subtitle to this game is Diddy's Conquest and not Diddy Kong's Quest? Yeah, happy holidays. Aw yeah, Kirby, Kirby, Kirby. He is the name that you should know. One thing Kirby's been known for is just being filled with a ton of charming worlds, a lot of those being filled with ice and snow. But as someone who has played the entire series multiple times over, the honors here easily go to Kirby's epic yarn. Snowland is just filled with so many awesome wintry levels, but there are 2 that easily make this list: Cozy Cabin and Evergreen Lift. In Evergreen Lift, you take a slow climb up a giant Christmas tree just filled with all the possible decorations that you can think of. Lights, bows, presents, Waddle Dees throwing snowballs, just the works. And not only that, but the entire level is Kirby working to put the big star at the top of the tree. How precious is that? And then Cozy Cabin actually tries to replicate the feeling similar to Snow Peak Ruins with a warm and cozy house to shelter yourself from the cold. Granted though, in this level, cozy does mean the cabins themselves trying to smother you to death, but it's the thought that counts, right? And I mean, the cabins themselves are shaped like mittens. Do you feel it? Do you feel the adorable Christmas spirit being injected into your veins? And the answer to that is not only yes, but it feels like pants. So I bet a lot of you expected one of these snow levels from Super Mario 64 to make it on this list. And while they are both awesome, there really is only one king of the old school wintry platformer level, and that is Freeze Easy Peak from Banjo-Kazooie. This level just has freaking everything. The first thing you notice is a trio of baby polar bear kids missing their presents who just get super excited at finally getting them in their hands. Then you have chimney-topped houses down the mountain, a walrus cave featuring the ever-famous stop-and-swap item, the Ice Key, the father bear who just ate so much that he can't possibly move an inch, which I can easily relate to, and then you get the Beak Bomb power-up too, which is just a total blast to use. And then, there is also a little minigame where you guide Christmas lights to a tree, as well as flying through the big shiny star at the top of it, which is fine and all, but then you go inside the tree. I know as fact that I am not the only one to say this, but this is the definition of a holiday-based level. And heck, the music itself is enough to get you right in the mood. It is perfection. No matter how hard any platformer has tried or will try in the future, Freeze Easy Peak will always be the pinnacle of a gaming winter wonderland. Well, except for one. I mean, just look at this! This is one of the most genius creations to ever grace the world of gaming. You take the original Nights into Dreams, which was a pretty big game at the time for Sega. You take both of the main characters' first levels, as well as the first boss, and completely Christmasify it by taking the Idia portal and turning it into a Christmas tree that you put lights on. You give the main characters as well as Knights a Santa makeover, completely snow in Spring Valley, and to sweeten the deal even further, you're treated to an excellent remix of Jingle Bells, just in case you weren't feeling wintry enough. Even the opening and closing cinematics replicate the warm and fuzziness of Christmas time being behind the fireplace. Now from what I can gather, the original Saturn version had elements like northern lights, stars, and even candy to replace the snow if you played the game at a certain time of day, as well as different unlockable presents like playing as Sonic. Both of these are unfortunately not in the HD version that I have. This version is based on the PS2 remake, where Sega just randomly decided to take some of that content out for whatever reason. And I will be totally honest with you, I'm not even that big of a fan of the original Nights into Dreams, but this is easily a game I can see myself coming back to every winter break because this is easily the best Christmas-based game I have ever played. And until Nintendo remakes and Christmasifies Bob-omb Battlefield, it'll damn sure stay that way. And that is gonna do it for my top 10 wintry levels in gaming. I do want to apologize for being a few days late in my intended release though, as it turns out, making top 10s can be quite difficult. But if there are any special winter levels that come to your head that weren't on my list, then let me know in the comments, I would totally love to hear it. But all that said, hope you guys enjoyed my list. And if you did enjoy it, check out some more of my videos here, like my top 5 reasons why Super Mario 3D World is awesome review, or my short playthrough a little bit of the recently released NES remix, quite the awesome game there. And I'll also like to take this time and plug a friend of mine, CJS001. He's been a bit of an inspiration the past few years, and he recently just did a list similar to this one, so go check it out. A few of our entries even match, so you know it's going to be a good one. But anyways guys, thank you all for watching, I'll catch y'all next time, and of course, happy holidays and a merry post-Christmas to all of you, your friends, and your families. You all take care now, bye bye.